Good morning, everyone. Our study is entitled Literary Experience and the Literary Competence of Third-Year English Majors at Mindoro State University, Calapan City Campus. To break down our title, basically, the literary experience is the independent variable and is talking about the exposure of the students to literature on the extent of their attitude, methods of teaching literature, and literary assessment, while literary competence is the dependent variable, which talks about the students' skills in literary appreciation, grammar, and critical thinking. Of third-year English majors at Mindoro State University, Calapan City Campus, this refers to the population or the respondents of the study. Let us proceed to the introduction of the study. The role of literature empowers a person's intellect and shapes the historical and present perspective of how people view the world. Thus, literary experience influences students' attitudes, learning, and methods taught. In the Philippines, in the Commission on Higher Education, Memorandum Order No. 75 Series 2017, under the Policy, Standard, and Guidelines for Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English, the literature study adheres to learning effectiveness under the program, where extensive exposure to literary texts should be observed. The literature study is an essential aspect of the curriculum at many institutions worldwide. It helps students build meaningful surroundings, occupied with plenty of intriguing characters and rich language interpretation. In the program for International Student Assessment in 2018, the Philippines ranked worst in reading comprehensions among 79 countries. This has an enormous impact on building the learner's skills. It implies that the ability of the students to engage in analytical and cognitive thinking, such as comprehending, analyzing, inferring meanings explicitly and implicitly, events and thoughts expressed in literary language, is not well established. Moreover, a FIFO Dean in 2017 stated the necessity of guidance and acquaintance with the range of literature toward achieving literary competence. It highlights the importance of teacher support, which may also improve their objectivity in observing students' progress toward general literary competency. The researchers would like to conduct the study to determine the relationship between the literary experience and literary competence of third-year English major students at Mindoro State University, Calapan City Campus. The study will promote opportunities for learners' development of creativity, knowledge, and skills toward making sense of the work and fuller appreciation of the diverse relationship between literature and experience. The study will also help the teachers support their basis to construct different strategies for the students to develop their literary competence and provide the complexity and the concreteness of literary experience and necessary support for the learner's literary learning processes. For the statement of the problem, this research aims to answer the following questions. Number 1, what is the extent of literary experience of the student respondents in terms of reader's attitude, methods of teaching literature, and literary assessment? Number 2, what is the level of the student's literary competence in terms of literary appreciation, grammar, and critical thinking? 3, is there a significant relationship between the extent of literary experience and the level of literary competence of third-year English majors at Mindoro State University, Calapan City Campus? 4th, based on the findings, what input may be proposed? For the statement of the hypothesis, there is no significant relationship between the extent of literary experience and the level of literary competence of third-year English majors at Mindoro State University, Calapan City Campus.
This study is anchored on different theories. The action theory by Talcott Parsons, which best fit for the research since it demonstrates that the third-year English major's literary competency is developed through their action. Then, the education theory, constructivism and social constructivism, proposed by Jen Dewey. In relation to the study, The students create their own meaning through the experience or the varieties of literary pieces they have read. And those theories were supported by Wolfgang Iser and Louis Rosenblatt reader response theory in 1960. In connection to the study, the reader is an active agent who gives the word actual life and complete its meaning through interpretation for the reader response.
The conceptual framework presents the hypothesized relationship between the extent of literary experience of the student respondents in terms of readers' attitude, methods of teaching literature, and literary assessment, and the literary competence in terms of literary appreciation, grammar, and critical thinking of third years English majors at Mindoro State University, Calapan City campus. The single-headed arrow indicates the relationship between the independent and dependent variables. The box in the bottom part, connected to the dependent and independent variables, represents the intervention program, which is designed to address the issue being concerned. According to Kohler 2010, literary competence as a skill is an ability to interpret the meaning of the text beyond what is obviously stated in the text which the readers have read. What Kohler 2010 said can be used as significant review to support the relationship between literary experience and literary competence as variables in the researcher's study. To support Kohler's idea, Rosenblatt 2016 claimed that in literary competence during literary reading events, the reader is in the process of forming a relationship with the work by putting personal experience, memory, and mood into play. Moreover, Mangulad Jr. 2018 also supported this claim that literary competence enables the students to transform language sequences into literary structures and meanings in order for its significance to allow the learners in assessing and recognizing their individual worth. Meanwhile, Brune M. 2013 reiterated that there is similarity between literary experience and cognitive experience. In both circumstances, past experiences informs the present experience, while the present experience anticipates and conditions the next experience. However, in literature, this change of actual sequence into perceived superposition and of time into space is more perceptible and as a result, more accessible than in other forms of communication, which supported the idea of the researchers in viewing literary experience which can build unique insight and access into the temporal structure of cognition. To define reading, according to Nowoman 2013, it is a complex activity in which readers attempt to interact and come up to understand what they have read, while Khatib and Nasrulahi 2012 explained that reading texts allow a person to combine literal comprehension, which is based on lower-level cognitive processes such as lexical access and syntactic parsing, with inferential comprehension, which is based on higher-level cognitive process. Due to the fact that almost all of the literatures are in a form of text, reading will create an enormous impact to the competence of the students based on what they have read and prior experiences. Moreover, in Mangulad's Jr. 2018 study, he found out that in terms of literary appreciation and their performance in reading, college students have a fair level of literary appreciation skills, but they have relatively low literary appreciation skills in other areas such as recognition of the author's point of view, ability to judge the text, recognitions of personal philosophy based on the literary text read, and relating the story to one's own personal life. Hence, to support this, the study of Stefanova et al. 2018 revealed that participating in intrinsically stimulating activities and having frequent opportunities to discuss literary texts and apply them to current events has proven to be quite advantageous. In light of the study of literature, the study was supported by Mass idea on the significance of literature, which intends to engage learners in the appreciation and critical study of literature in all of its forms, including its numerous dimensions and genres, as well as the various elements, structures, settings, and traditions. The researchers' aim was given more emphasis through synthesizing the value of the skills in literature in the everyday lives and different fields of work and study. The collective studies and literatures are also interconnected because literary experience has a significant influence on the literary competence of the students.
This study is quantitative research, and descriptive correlational methods will be used to measure the relationship between literary experience and literary competence of third-year English majors at Mindoro State University. The respondents of the study are third-year English major students from two different sections enrolled at Mindoro State University during the school year 2021 to 2022. Furthermore, the researchers used a sample size using Rao-Soft's sample size calculator to determine the recommended sample size. Based on the result, out of 90 respondents, 74 respondents will be the total sample size to collect relevant data for the study. On the other hand, a simple random sampling technique using a fishbowl method was employed to determine the respondents of the study. According to Thomas L. 2020, a simple random sample is a method of selecting individuals randomly from a population with an equal chance of being chosen, because it involves a simple random selection and only requires a little prior knowledge of the population. It is regarded as one of the easiest of all the probability sampling methods. For the validity and reliability of the test questionnaires, the researchers will use the test-retest method. The researchers will use the same instrument twice at different times to assess the connection between the scores of the two tests in the test-retest process. In addition, the major instrument of the study was a self-made test questionnaire that consists of 3 parts. Part 1 consists of 30 items survey questionnaires, which will be done through a 4-point scale to describe the mean responses of the extent of literary experience of the students. For Part 2, it consists of 20 items objective type of test to determine the level of the student's literary competence in terms of literary appreciation and grammar. For Part 3, it consists of 10 items crossword puzzles to determine the level of students' literary competence in terms of critical thinking. For the data gathering procedure, the link of the Google form which covers the questionnaires for Part 1 and Part 2 will be sent at the student's vacant or free time. For the Part 3, which consists of the crossword puzzle item, the file will be sent to the president of the class each section, then she will forward the file to their respective group chat. The respondent's answer will be compared to the answer key, and the survey questionnaire will be analyzed and discussed among the researchers involved. So that concludes our presentation. On behalf of my group mates, Ms. Flowny Abanilla and Ms. Mary Grace Maria Nemaria, we thank you for your time and attention.